Welcome to En Route to Success, where we have raw, vulnerable conversations between Fitz DeSanto, Sam Boyer, and many talented individuals, unraveling the truths and principles of people's experiences, methods to grow, and discovering how to live a fulfilling lifestyle. Buckle up, the journey begins now. 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our podcast. We are so excited today because we are joined by Mr. Dr. Sterling Petersen, a chiropractor, a fitness model, and also simply a good human being. And we'll unpack that more later. I'm joined here by Sam. Hi, Sam. How are you?
I'm good, Fitz. How you doing, man?
I am good. Dr. Sterling, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course, I appreciate it. I appreciate the intro. I'm a chiropractor. I try to be a good human and help people out, and that's why I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time and taking this time. You know, our first question, we always start with our friends to kind of just introduce themselves and know your background and a high overview where you're from, and kind of just take your time in a high overview profile and why you do what you do. And then as we get done with that, we can unpack it later, so how Sam and I does it. But yeah, I'll give you on the floor just to let our listeners know where you're from and your background.
Yeah, so I would normally say I'm from California, but I just moved to Florida. So it's it's an interesting change. But I did grow up in Florida since I was about 4 years old. My parents are chiropractors. They met in chiropractic school, which is a cool story in its own. And I kind of grew up playing sports. I was always an athlete. I was just interested in healthcare, sports, being active. That was always just kind of like a part of what I was always happy participating in. And as I kind of got older, I went through some ideas of what jobs I could possibly do, what careers I could do. And, interestingly enough, even though my parents are chiropractors, I was not pushed into chiropractic, from early on. It was just like, hey, here's how come we love chiropractic. And here are all these cool stories, but you guys need to do what you're interested in. And it just kind of came to this point of like, I could try to go like this. I was almost a pro soccer player, and then that didn't quite pan out. And then I was like, but I'm not interested in becoming a coach. So I just kind of came to this point of like, actually chiropractic is awesome. And I think it's also an active job that I treat it as a sport. Like I'm adjusting people all day. It's still like a sport. So I'm like, still approach it as an athlete. I take care of myself. I go to the gym 5 days a week. So, and I love my parents and we are extremely close. So it just seemed to be a good fit. Like it just kind of was like, well, I'm going to do this then. And that's kind of how I came into becoming a chiropractor, and I've enjoyed it ever since. And actually what's interesting is when I started chiropractic school, I told my parents, I was like, hey guys, like I want to be a chiropractor, but I don't want to be a chiropractor in the same location forever. Some people do, that's cool, but I want to do more traveling. I want to open up multiple offices. And if you guys are on that same page, then let's do it. But I don't want to just go through chiropractic school, end up in my parents' office and stay there forever. I just have like too many other things I want to accomplish. And they were totally like, yeah, that's been our dream too. We just haven't had the right team to do it. I'm like, okay, well then we're going to do it. And so that's what's happening right now. I'm in the process.
No, thank you, Sterling. That was really nice. And that was a good overview of the story. I'm going to unpack it a little bit. Sam is smiling because he's like, he always does this,
He's the unraveler, the unpacker.
Yeah, which is good.
One, kudos to the parents because for not forcing you to do on the chiropractic, like you actually have to get that on your own, right? Like you have to get into that realization. I wrote that down because that's really important. I do want to know though, like what pushes you? Because I see your Instagram stories and I see all you're so passionate about the adjustment, the fitness, and helping others. I see the relationship with your dad are so close as well. And I wanted to know, like, can you walk us through your thought process in relates to why you chose the chiropractic practice and what made you decide on, okay, this is actually what I want to do and this is what's going to drive me?
Yeah. So it was interesting. It was a couple things. I try to get back into the headspace of pre-chiropractic school, pre the whole experience, because that obviously changes everything. But when I was just in undergrad playing college sports and all that, I looked up to a chiropractor. I was like, wow, they can adjust. Like that is not only super cool, but they can do nutrition and they can do all these other things. They can, adjust, kids, athletes, animals, they can do all this stuff. And I just, from my own experience, I know, I was having all these issues. I would injure myself playing, sports, and I would just get adjusted. And I'm like, wow, okay, that seems so quick. And I'm like, how come other people have these health problems when it's just so easy to fix? I didn't really understand it. And then I just had this, like, my parents would talk about chiropractic school and it was so tough. And I got my closest like friends from chiropractic school. And I was like, this sounds like such a cool like journey to experience, And I just always had this in my head of like this like ultimate cool job to become a chiropractor. And it was like so hard. But in the end, you could do so many things within it that I was like, I like the freedom and the aspect of it also being challenging, and that I have my parents to kind of help me through any tough times, or if I ever get discouraged or I'm like, this isn't what I thought. And they're like, no, keep going. This is just a hard part. So, it was just kind of a combo of all of that. And that's kind of what helped me go, okay, I'm going to take on this challenge of trying to get through chiropractic school and ultimately just become an awesome chiropractor.
Yeah. Do you bounce ideas with your parents? I'm curious as far as like, mom.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm trying to take on the part of like where they see me as their equal in regards to ideas, growth, where we're taking the company and the business. Especially with COVID, things changed so quickly that they kind of come to me for like, oh, okay, good. So Instagram and TikTok and all this other stuff. Like I got our office at TikTok and we started off with like 2 views, 3 views. And then we have this guy who's like in our PT department who's like got jokes for days, but he's like too shy on camera. So we like actually got him to get on a few of these. And then the office TikTok blew up and it blew my own TikTok like and we're getting hella views and comments. And I'm like, you guys are cooler than my own account now. So it's just kind of cool to do new creative stuff like that. And the goal is that I go to them for, like experience and, hey, guy, when there are tough times, how did we get out of it in the past? Or how did we grow in the past, and hiring and all this other stuff. But I try to bring ideas to the table to take us where the future is heading, and not just, stay in the past of where chiropractic has been, because things are changing so fast.
Yeah, what a great relationship, and with your parents, and also with work, right? Sterling for me. And I have to say too, I've seen some of your Instagram stories, and I just want to say that I love, even just now that you're talking, I could see that you're so passionate about what you do. And I love that you also called out other chiropractors, like, guys, like, what's going on? Because like I saw that, and I know that you really enjoy your job, and also you're genuine about it, and you have the client's best interest. So thank you for being that type of human being, because I have to say that honestly, I didn't have a good experience with other chiropractors before. But I trust you. I mean, I would go to you once you know what I mean? Like that's something that I want to tell you now. But anyways, Sam, do you have any other pressing questions? Because I know I'm talking too much. So I think Sam froze. Hang on. Oh, you're good now.
There we go. Yeah, I froze for a minute.
Yeah. Sam, I said, Sam, do you have any other pressing questions?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I cut out right as I as you said that. Yeah. So in terms of actually what Fitz just shared, I've been on the opposite side of the spectrum, and I've had multiple adjustments, and not like major injuries, but things that definitely needed chiropractic adjustment to fix. And I personally know the benefit and the reason in my own life, but just for maybe some folks that haven't ever had an adjustment or needed one, or maybe new to this space, and to kind of give you the chance to share, what do you, in your mind, how do you describe an adjustment to someone, and why is it important that certain people get that? Because they may not even know. So I want to have you kind of share from your side that technical aspect.
Yeah, I think that's important too. And for one, chiropractic is like really the only type of person out there that adjusts the spine in the way that it gets adjusted in order to optimize your nervous system and ultimately healing and having things operate at 100% the way that they're supposed to. So obviously that can be done, you can get a massage, you can get stretched, you can go to the gym, you can get PT work, all of that is helpful, but actually adjusting the spine is not done by anyone else to the degree that a chiropractor is able to do it. So that's what's so cool about it, is that unless you have experienced it, it's hard to know that you don't require it, or you do. There are some people, and for me, it depends on the patient and who I'm talking to. I like to tailor it to that person. So for a person like you who maybe played sports, and played ice hockey, contact sports, I wouldn't use the same explanation as I would for a person that's just been in tech forever and has been on a computer and they're hunched over. Their kind of pain points and the things that communicate to them will be completely different, but chiropractic can equally help either of those people. So it just depends on what issues they're having. But ultimately, the overarching goal of chiropractic is just to allow you and your body to do and perform and feel the way that it's supposed to, which is 100%. You shouldn't have aches and pains. You should be able to do anything you want to when you want to, and you should not let anything within your body hold you back from doing things you enjoy, hanging out with your family, playing sports, going to the gym, picking up a bunch of suitcases as you're traveling. Like, you should be able to do all that without the thought of, am I going to injure myself? Is this going to like put me out of my vacation? I'm not going to do this, or like, I can't sit for too long. I can't stand for too long. Those should not be a question if you're at 100%.
Yeah, definitely. And I can totally attest to that, because I actually had to be like helped off of the ice when I had a rib pop out of place and then my neck locked up and I physically couldn't move anymore. So I know from that side of it too, just feeling out of adjustment is the best way that I know how to say it now, is not feeling that 100%, fluidity in my body and some of those aches. And the adjustment has always, for me, put me in a way better state. It's almost like yoga or like some form of Zen for me. Afterwards, I'm like, I feel right again. So I definitely understand that. But beyond that, what are some of that you've seen for some of your patients? What are some of the more like long-term benefits of actually continuously going to be adjusted more regularly, rather than like waiting for an injury and having that consistency in being adjusted? What are some of those benefits that you see for people?
Yeah, for me, I think that's the way it should be done, but there's a fine line between that and then having to get adjusted all the time forever because you're not healthy enough or strong enough or able to withstand your posture. So you have to use the chiropractic almost as a crutch. So it's a blend of that, and you have to have a person that's able to determine, do you require adjustments so often because otherwise, you hurt yourself and it's your crutch? Or is it just a part of your routine for keeping you as healthy and optimal as possible. So for me, I like to get adjusted every 2 weeks at least, just because I know with what stress it puts on me. The gym, I'll play basketball, I'll play like soccer, I'll do all these things, and I just put stress on my body. And I know I need to like, as I go to the gym to continue to stay in shape, I get adjusted to continue to stay healthy. Also, it's like you only go to the gym when you're like out of shape, and then you stop when you're in shape again, and then you wait, and then when you're out of shape, you go to the gym. Good, I'm in shape, I'm going to stop now. It's like, it should just be like, let's stay in shape. That's why you continue to go to the gym and you continue to eat healthy. With just how humans are designed, it takes a lot of upkeep, unfortunately, to like stay really healthy. A person who's like an athlete, they eat so much, they train hours a day just to be strong and fast. And it takes so much effort. And that's just what humans unfortunately need in order to be able to optimally be as healthy as they should be.
Yeah, definitely. No, and I appreciate you giving that analogy, because I know, like you said, it's different for all people. And I think it totally makes sense. Like, yeah, why don't we consistently go to the gym, stay healthy, stay in shape? Why don't we stay adjusted as often as each person needs it? So that's a great example. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Fitz, I know you got a question or two. I see you leaning in. So I'll let you take it.
That's our cue, Sterling, by the way. If you see us, like, this is our kind of like mind reading cue.
Yeah.
I have to say too, Sterling, the way you articulate that was very thorough, and it's very important, because for somebody that don't know or never heard of it, or I like it a lot, so what you did there was so good, and you're not even pitching, you're just really telling your passion, and I really appreciate that. My follow-up question with Sam's question is the frequency of it. So for instance, for an average person, just like you said, right? Like if somebody goes to the gym 5 times a week and been active their whole life, like myself, how would you say the frequency of the adjustment should be at least twice a month or so, or every 2 weeks, like you said, if somebody's very active?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's hard to, it's impossible to say unless I like get my hands on you, and I'm like, because for you could say, I feel great. And then I test some stuff out. I'm like, yo, your hip doesn't move at all. And you're like, oh, I had no idea. You wouldn't know unless I like checked it out. And so, kind of at the start of a program, it's good to just do things a bit more frequently just to see how you respond. And then at a certain point, the person and like the spine and the body will tell you, and you'll be able to feel a person will come in and it's like, dude, you feel pretty good. I don't even know if you require an adjustment today. This is great. How about we push you out and see how long, you're able to stay healthy for, right? And I think it's kind of important, which is also important, to get a good chiropractor who you understand and they understand you, and you guys are on the same page with everything, because ultimately, I think chiropractic is important to maintain and continue to do, but it's not something that you should like have to do all the time. It's like, it should just be like the gym is just easy to use. You go to the gym to stay in shape. Do you have to go 5 days a week? No, you could probably go 3 days and get a good one in and still stay in pretty good shape, but you still need to like have it there as a part of the routine.
Yeah, so truthful. Answering like a truthful chiropractor. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Sam, do you have any other pressing questions in relates to chiropractic practice? Otherwise, we'll move on to the next.
I mean, I have tons of questions, and I probably need an in-person consultation for all of them. But,
Come on down.
In
terms of time, no, Fitz, we can move on to the next one.
Yeah, well, we've been talking about clients. We've been talking about how you deal with clients, Dr. Sterling. But right now, I want to kind of shift the gear towards you. Just to let you know that I love how you never forget the mantra that Sam and I both drive, which is gratitude. We're grateful for everything that we have all the time. Like, I see you with nature, family, health, and with other people, you just have that drive. So for us, I'm curious to know, like, in a lighter note, how does Dr. Sterling recharge? Like, what do you do for fun? And what keeps you waking up in the morning and say, hey, you know what? I'm grateful for what I have.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think it kind of changes with time. But for me, at the end of like most of my days, like I like to go to the gym. That honestly for me it's great because it's healthy and it helps me to decompress. I just put on loud music. I get to do my own thing and I just work out. I get a good sweat. I feel great. And oftentimes I get great ideas in the gym. I'm like, good, I'm going to type that up. Okay, good. And it's a good kind of like end of the day, just like think about everything that happened, contemplate stuff coming up. And I get to just concentrate on just good hard exercise. But after I've been like, let's say with COVID and everything, I was just like, I need to do something. And for me, there's like a time of like, in order to decompress, I can do two things. I can either like go hard at the gym and exercise and sweat and crazy, or I can like go to a pool and a beach and just like hang out in the sun and just like relax and be okay with the fact that I don't have to do anything for a few hours, because oftentimes I think I have to do so much all the time constantly. And if I'm not, then I feel almost kind of bad. Like I'm not doing enough. I should be doing more. And there are times where I'm like, I'm just taking 3 hours and I'm going to I'm not going to do anything. And I'm going to be okay with that just to like decompress. And I think also traveling out of your sphere is good, like going to a different state. It just helps you kind of understand the perspective of everything. And you're like, you know what? I do got it pretty good. I love my parents. I love my family. I got good friends. And you're like, okay, good. I'm jazzed up. Let's go again. So it's kind of like a few of those things for me.
No, absolutely. We can totally appreciate that. And I wanted to highlight that because the two types that you define was two types of self-care, right? Like one is if you're going to the gym. For me, I'm opposite. I like to be at sunrise by 5:30. I'm right at the gym and then I'm ready to go. It's almost like my recharge until like then by 6 I'm like doozing off, right? But and then the other side is just the beach, and it's so hard because I had to learn that the hard way too. It's like I felt guilty not being productive, but recognizing how we felt right after and the awareness, I'm like, you know what? Now I'm ready to help more people. And, so
exactly.
Thank you for sharing that. Sam, do you have any other?
Yeah, I was just thinking to myself, that's totally the plight of a former athlete, feeling like you're not working hard enough.
Yeah, totally.
Like, being able to relax is a new skill that you have to learn. So it's just, I was listening to you say that. I'm like, I go through this on like a weekly basis with myself. So I get it.
Yeah.
But no, that's really cool. And that's probably one of the most genuine answers I think we've received from a lot of people. And so thank you for sharing that, because that is a struggle for a lot of people, like knowing whether or not to put in more work or give yourself the space to recharge so that you can be more effective when you are present with people. So thanks for sharing that.
Of course.
Yeah. And as we wind down, as closing out, we want to open the floor to you, Dr. Sterling. What would you tell our listeners out there that either, share the same passion or wanting to give more light to others, but really not sure where to start? And also another that whatever's coming from your heart for these guys, the floor, I would open the floor to you. And last but not least, where they could contact you as well.
Yeah. Well, I just had like a ton of ideas, so I'll try not to talk for too long. But I don't know. I feel like, it's interesting, but I feel like a lot of the, because we all have our struggles and our tough days and all that. And I think we just have to understand that it's not always easy for everyone. And also that, I don't know, it's this idea that I've been playing with also that it's okay if you want to be the most, successful person, have the most amount of everything and be the highest person in your industry. And that's your goal. But that doesn't have to be everyone's goal. You can be like, that's just not me. And and just because other people think that's how you should feel, you don't have to be like that. So there are people that are like, I'm totally okay when I make a couple $100,000 a year and I'm with my family, I'm in the country, this is happy me. You don't need to. So I just think it's important to just constantly check in with who you are and what makes you happy. And if things change, don't try to fight it and just be like, okay, I might not want that anymore. And that's totally okay. I think that that's something that I've been like understanding too, is that I'm like, you know, just trying to talk and just understand with how things progress. And I'm like, man, that was unpleasant. Do I want to keep doing that or not? Or like, is it just unpleasant because I haven't pushed hard enough through the unpleasantness, and then it'll be good. And it's this thing that sometimes you have to experience. And that's what I've been having to go through a lot here in Florida is, it's been great, but it's also, there are a couple times in the day where it might be slower. And I'm like, I'm used to having like 25 to 40 patients a day. And now the other day I had like 3, and I'm like going crazy. And I'm like, and I'm like, okay, this is part of it. And this is it. But it's growing and it's good. And I know I'll be able to talk about it. Like, oh, I remember when I had 3 one day and it was like terrible, but it was great. And I just have to understand that that's part of it. So hopefully that kind of helps, and just understand that there are kind of 2 pulling sides to kind of everything. And it's okay to just play with either side until you understand more of you and what makes you happy, and that's ultimately the goal. And also if your goal is to be the highest of everything and the hugest in your area, then totally fine. But just also know that it's going to take a lot more effort than you think. Like everything you want to accomplish, also for all of those, like all of like the doers out there, thing that I've learned too is that usually like how much effort you think it's going to take, you got to like honestly 10x that just to probably hit that. And you're like, shoot, I didn't think it was going to take this much work, but it usually takes a lot more than you even think it could possibly maybe take. And you just got to be okay with that and understand like, wow, okay, I got my butt kicked. I need to keep going. And then that's also part of it, but that's part of the grind and the accomplishment of it too, is that once you accomplish it, you're like, wow, I did so much. But that's also how come people will look up to you, because they're like, that was not easy. And he did this, this, and this. So it's kind of like, you got to earn your stripes. And that's what I would say to all the people who are the entrepreneurs, the go-doers, and just want to do big things. That's just something I would keep in mind for sure. And then real quick, if anyone is interested in following me or contacting me, Instagram is great, and or TikTok. So Instagram, it's at Dr. Sterling, all spelled out, DOCTOR Sterling. Same with TikTok. And those I'm pretty responsive on. You can even, I think my email's up there, so you can email me off that, but that's probably the 2 easiest ways.
Thank you, Dr. Sterling. And thank you for the openness and also being very genuine about that. And we have to have you back once 6 months from now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check in. It's like, hey, how are you feeling right now? But no,
I would love that.
Thank you for being truthful. Sam, do you have any other
Yeah, it was refreshing hearing you talk and speak kind of from the heart like that, because so much of what you shared is a lot of our mission and our goal here of providing tools, resources, and voices for people in all industries to really discover their path for themselves and what success means. So that was just unscripted, like perfect alignment. So really appreciate that.
Well, good. I'm glad.
And I have to say too, Dr. Sterling, you're doing fantastic. So anytime that you have that, just remember that we've said that to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That means a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, we can close this out. We're always closing out our podcast with things that we're grateful for. For me, I'm grateful for the networking side and having Dr. Sterling over today. That was really huge for us. Sam, what's yours?
I was going to go with social media, actually, because other than that, we wouldn't have ever had the chance to connect and Fitz do his thing with building great relationships and getting you on the show. So definitely thankful for that. But Sterling, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm grateful for those too. I'm a big fan of social media, but for me, I'm grateful for the kindness in people. As I've been here, I've been open and just telling people like, look, I'm a brand new office, trying to get a lot of patients. Come and help me out, show some support. And they're like, oh my God, totally. Like, I got a friend, I'll help you out. And it's just great to be around people that are open and genuine. And if you're kind of like genuine too, they're open to that. They're like, I'll help. Like, people genuinely enjoy helping. So I think that's what I'm extremely grateful for, is that stuff coming from good people is awesome.
So good. Well, before we go, Sam, I'll hand you over to give our listeners where they could contact us.
Absolutely, as I enjoy doing. So for social media, if you want to find us, that's at En Route to Success 365 on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Pinterest. Individually at Sam Boyer or Fitz DeSanto on LinkedIn. And then you can contact us directly at our email, alohafitzsam@gmail.com.
Thank you, Sam Boyer. Thank you, Dr. Sterling. It's been such an honor, and thank you for taking the time to spread some light to our listeners and to us too. I've learned so much in this episode as well.
Yeah, I appreciate it. This was awesome. This went this was great, and it was just an easy convo, and I'm glad I was able to help you and hopefully some people out there out.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, as we close out, we always say, remember, even small victory is worth to be grateful for. Have a good one, guys.
Take care.
See ya.